Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday evening AquaStax hour with me, Long Steve. It's 7:54. I'll get my timing right. Um, I'm going to start 5 minutes early today just because I was ready, and usually it takes a few minutes for people to arrive, so I will chat to myself for a little bit. So let me remind myself of where I was at the end of last week. Also, just double check that the live coding stream has gone live. The video for last week's stream, or last Thursday afternoon stream on the 23rd of Feb, isn't available on liveedu.tv for some reason. It says it cannot play it. I suspect it's because I was streaming whilst they were doing the major update to the site. I have a local copy of the video that I've saved, so I will upload that to YouTube at some point soon, along with all my other ones. A few other glitches on the LiveEdu site at the moment, but I've been in touch with the support guys. They're having a look at them, especially on my project page for this AquaStax project. You might notice the project diary seems to be sorted in some random order. All the entries I've made over the past few months don't appear in the correct order. The dates are listed against each entry, but they're listed out of order in odd days. Then there's my missing video. And there was something else as well, but I can't remember what it was. Relatively minor things, really. Anyway, let's get on with what I was doing. Make sure I am streaming. Definitely got my live profile set in OBS. Yep. Okay. So let's open up my refactor.txt file. There it is. So move on to stack clustering and grouping. Yes, this is the next bit of logic and function that I want to implement in the code. That should be fun. No bugs at the moment. Actually, I have spotted something which I will just briefly show now while I set things up, and also I'll note it down, but I'm not going to dive into fixing it today because that'll be an hour of boring bug fixing. What am I doing? I want to start up gulp serve and bring up Chrome, which I had already started here. Click on the game. So I managed to get quite a long way in the old code at the moment. I implemented rotation, slotting into place. So if I make a little gap like that, oh, perfect! This little block will slot into place. There are quite a lot of rotation-y things that I sorted out. Had a bit of testing. I can do all sorts of things, and it doesn't glitch, or blocks don't fall into themselves. Oh, can I slot that in there? Yes, I can. Anyway, so there's not a lot of glitching going on, and it's all looking good. However, there is one thing I noticed, and that's to do with the fast dropping and sliding. So let's see if I can in some way contrive a nice slope, and then we'll see what it looks like. Yes, I can put that on there. So what happens is the fast dropping somehow has stutters. Sometimes it'll drop fast, sometimes it won't. So let's see if I can drop this down quickly. I'm going to hold the key down, and it should slide, but it stuttered at the top and the bottom there, you might notice. If I do another one, see, that one stuttered different places. Yeah, so sometimes it stutters. What I did to test this the other day was I contrived a block piece in random block tile here. So what we want is random tile num equals, let me remember which tile it was. I think it might be that tile 4. Control save. Just trying to remember my hotkeys. That's the first one. One over there. Yes, so we get a lot of these. These ones you can stack nicely like this, and they make a nice big slope for testing purposes. Now, if I drop something down, hold down the key, so it should be fast dropping. See, it kind of slid for a bit, and then it's jittering. And now I have a feeling that it's because something I added causes the fast dropping to stop when the falling block or the sliding block is aligned with the grid. and it looks like it might be that way. But definitely when the block started to slide there, it slid more than one grid cell or one tile's worth, and then it slowed down. So I'm gonna make a note of that, but I'm not going to worry about it today. I'll have a look at that in my own time. If I find the fix for it, then I'll obviously stream the fix. Anyway, let's just reload that. Delete this random tile shape fix, and let's modify this. So no bugs at the moment. There is one. One bug at the moment. And it is when sliding using the fast drop. Oh, hi, Arthermco. Good to see you. Thanks for being the first person to join me tonight. I've just been chatting to myself for a few minutes, although I did start the stream early, so if you're expecting me to start at 8 o'clock, I apologize for starting early for a change. I've just been kind of noting down a bug to do with dropping the blocks down quickly and then sliding them on a slope, which I can try and demonstrate, but basically the blocks stutter as they slide down quickly. But I'm not going to dig into that today. I'm going to do something else that I planned to do, which was work on the stack clustering. Noting the bug down because it's always important to remember these things. When sliding using the fast drop, blocks can stutter, possibly due to moving over the grid cell boundaries. I think I put some code in that tries to do some alignment when blocks go across boundaries in the grid, and that might be causing the stuttering, but I'm not going to worry about that until another day. I'll save that file. So my plan was to look onto, or move on to stack clustering and grouping. So where shall I start doing that? I'm going to look in game.js and just think a bit about, I guess it's probably going to go into grid, isn't it? So what happens at the moment with the code is that when a block lands in the grid, the data for that block gets inserted into the grid using a special, the grid is an array, and it's got various fields in the array data that contain information about the block that's just landed. And there's a function in here called insert block into grid. That's it. But the block itself isn't removed. The node that the Cocos2d-JS node, which is this, it's not a sprite. It's actually drawn with geometry, so it's drawn with triangles. Is left on the scene at the point where it lands. And we don't render the grid at all, but I do have a grid render function, I think, or at least I used to. So this is all the collision testing code. Collide block, slide block. Let's see, do I have a draw grid function? Update. Nope. Block. I thought I might have had a draw grid function, but I don't. See, this is the bit where it's inserting all the tile data into the game grid, which is the array, and then I should hide those functions because they're a bit sort of unnecessary to look through at the moment. But my block grid data. No, maybe I didn't have a draw grid function. I thought at some point in the past I had a draw grid data or a render grid data, but I don't. Never mind. There are two things I can do. I can look at this from the point of view of the blocks and the rendering, or I can look at it from drawing the grid data and doing it that way. I think to start with, what I'm going to do is focus on block rendering, and that will allow me to render a block using its outline rather than drawing it as triangles. Then if I have blocks of multiple shapes and sizes, I'll be able to, blocks that merge together in the grid, so blocks of the same color form larger blocks, then I'll be able to render those appropriately. So let's go and see how we render blocks at the moment. So a block is created and it's rotated, we've got its data, and at some point we create Get tile anchor, pre-rotate tile. That's not that, is it? It's get tile bounds. Here we are. It's this create tile node at rotation. So that's the business of creating the draw node that renders the block. So what it does is it draws it as triangles. So it basically creates a draw node, renders triangles of a certain color with a is it white or with a white boundary around them. Let's see. It doesn't look like there is a boundary. Create tile node at rotation. Draw triangle. Node T1. Must be T1. No, that's triangle. Let's see. Let's have a quick look at draw triangle. What is it? Control dot. Ah, yeah. Draw triangle has white as its outline color. What I should probably do is remove that for a start. And see what it looks like. I mean, it should look like a solid triangle or solid blocks of color, hopefully. Okay, maybe it needs. I can't need something in there, surely. Let's just make the edge transparent. So do that. There we go. Now we've got blocks of solid color. I wonder how they actually look. Do they stack together nicely with lines? I could remove some of my debugging code. I've got the various outlines and things going on at the moment as well. That might allow me to see better. Oh, no, they're okay. So what I want to do is draw an outline around that block. So what we actually should do is, let's just check the draw poly routine as well, because I want to see that it shouldn't need a closed polygon or fill. It should be optional to have that final parameter in there. I can't get rid of that box. Okay, right. I bet there's something in the Cocos2d-JS code which requires that parameter to be there, though. Or is it closed? Oh, maybe it was true. Closed polygon, yeah, true. Let's see what that does. Been a long day today. I got up rather early, so I'm getting. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it needs the closed polygon parameter rather than the last one that says what the outline color is. Actually, I've moaned. Did I mention this last week? I can't remember or not. I've moaned once or twice about the documentation for the Cocos2d-X framework, and I discovered a much nicer documentation system called Dash, which you can get for the Mac, and there's a similar one I think called Velocity for the PC, which uses the same kind of documentation files, or doc sets as they're called, and there are documentation sets for all sorts of different APIs and languages and frameworks. And I have Dash installed now, and I hit F1, and there it is. I've got the Cocos2d-X documentation. It doesn't yet have the Cocos2d-JS documentation in it, but I've been looking at installing that myself because there's a way of generating the doc sets from the source code. So at the moment I've just got Cocos2d-X, and there's see, do we have a few other ones? I get it. Yes, a lot of other ones in there as well. This is all offline, so it's nice and quick and really fast to search. It doesn't need online connections. Anyway, just a brief aside. So now we've got some nice looking triangles and shapes, but I want to draw outlines around them. So let's see. So we've got draw triangle, and that's simply for a triangle, and that's in my util or my global class, right? What I really want to do is a block outline. So what we want to do is outline block. So outline block, so I create block outline because it's what you're actually doing. Create bud line, create block outline, there we go. So what's actually happening is I want to create the additional draw node geometry to make the outline of the block. So function shouldn't actually need any, actually I could do it at, let's see, it's going to need the rotation, isn't it? So it's going to need R for rotation. And I can call this function after I've called create tile node at rotation, or even as part of it. Yes, I should probably just do it down the bottom here. So self dot, well, I can call it add a block outline. Yeah, that might be better. Because it's not creating the node. That's done in here. That's in create tile node at rotation. Self dot add block outline. And it's going to be for rotation is R, isn't it? Yes. With N. Tile node is R. Right. And in theory, I should be able to use the grid data and do it in the same fashion. Do I want to use any of this data that I've already got in here? So I can loop over the grid, and that tells me the triangle details. No, I think I can probably just get away with it. I could actually include it in this function, but I want to make it separate because I want to have this add block outline as a separate function. So I want to make it self-contained, because then I can call it on arbitrary shaped blocks which get created by clustering in the grid. Anyway, outline, yeah, that R is probably going to need to be 0. So if it's not defined. So let's first of all do that. Then if, now I got this wrong recently and it caused a nice interesting bug. I think it was down in here. Let's have a look at the grid. I'm thinking of the code that you use to determine if a parameter is undefined or not. Maybe it wasn't in grid. Could it have been in, it was in block. It's to do with the rotation of blocks, wasn't it? Get tile cells. Here we are. It was this one, I think. So I'm going to borrow that because I think that works. Actually, no, it wasn't to do with that function, that particular bit of logic. It was to do with passing the wrong parameters into the function call, wasn't it? That was it. I remember now. So back to block where we were. I'm going to set that to 0, I think. Or I could maybe use self.rotate, self.rot. Anyway, oh, somebody just joined. I didn't see. Oh, it was Cocos2d-JS. Hi, good to see you. Right. Now, what do I want to do? I need to loop over the block. Let's probably going to borrow some of the logic for this method here. I'm going to just do a copy and paste to start with. You missed the explanation of me not adding additional code in line with this particular function. So this creates my tile nodes, which are the triangle geometry. What I want to do now is make a block outline around those triangles, or around the geometry for the tiles, but as a separate function, because I want to be able to call it in different places when arbitrary shaped blocks are made by clustering of same colored blocks within, or same colored tiles within the grid. Anyway, so brief reason for this copy and paste that might look horrible, but I can assure you there's a reason for it. So we want tile, I don't need grid data. Actually, let's see, TD. We do need to know the tile. Now I've got grid data, which is an arbitrary. The grid data is stored separately, so grid data is stored as part of my tile definitions, but I'm not necessarily going to have one if I'm not defining a tile, if I'm not defining a block from a predetermined set of tiles. That's interesting. How might that work then? I'm probably going to have to generate some tile data and use it, or install a temporary object with some data in that's generated from the grid data. Okay. Can I do it? What I might do for now, X and Y position, that shouldn't necessarily be important. Why is that create? Should they? Yeah, there's always pass to 0, 0. Just thinking about the use of the function here. Is that used anywhere else? No. Why do I need to pass zeros in when? Okay. those x and y values are local to the object itself. I'm going to remove those. Create a draw node to render a given tile number and rotation. Use that. Tile num and rotation. So I don't need. That's going to be 0. That's 0. That's 0. So it's that. Right. Now let's pass n and r in for now. But I have a feeling I'm going to modify the meaning of n at some point, or add an additional parameter to this that allows me to pass in an arbitrary bit of grid data. So I'll call it n again. I should probably make my functions a little more, the parameters a bit more meaningful. Okay, add the cc draw node geometry using what do I want? Draw node dot. I think it's draw segment. Draw segment calls to render lines for the block outline. Now that node. Okay, so create tilet node. We're installing these into self.draw nodes. I'm going to need to pass the node in, aren't I? Yeah, let's do that for now. Right. You stream quite a bit. Secret 7, talking to you because you're the only one in the room that I can see at the moment, although there might be one or two other viewers that I can't see. Did you have any glitches last week when Live Coding TV updated their, or LiveEdu.tv updated their platform? My video from last Thursday afternoon isn't available. It seems to be broken. Plus, I've got some lovely out of my dates for all the diary entries are all out of date. Well, they're not out of date. They're out of sort order. Although the correct dates are applied to each diary entry, they're not sorted in the right way, which is kind of annoying. And I had to redo my project page as well, because where it was lovely and you used to be able to have formatting of your page, now it's just plain text and you can't do that. It's kind of annoying, but hopefully I think they're going in the right direction with the project structure, rather than just having a single page. Not that I've got more than one project yet, but I might do one day. Anyway, I was digressing there. So add block outline. So I kind of have the right set of things now. aq.block tile data now. This is where this will do. So m grid size times grid size. Yeah, that's my array of grid data. So we work out these triangles. What I need to do is, so for every cell, which I want to do 4 sides of the cell. So I'm waving my hands around here trying to think spatially. So let's see if I can maybe draw a bit of a diagram or something, just to help me remember what I'm trying to do. That's right. So if I've got a block a bit like that, I'm going to need to determine if the triangles within that block. So let's do that. So that's a 4, which is kind of like a single triangle, and that's 31 to a block. So I want to sort of know that if it's going to, so where's my triangles? Here they are. So I might split this window and have that down there a bit. Minimize that. So if I've got a, where we've got a 4 triangle, then I need to check on the right-hand side to see if there's anything there. If there is, I don't draw a line. No, if there isn't, I can draw a vertical line. If there is, then I don't need to draw a line because I know that, well, actually I need to check the type of the thing in the right-hand cell. If it's a 1 or a 2, then I don't need to draw a line. If it's a 3, then I do. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of case statements going to go in here, I expect. Or if statements, something like that. So let's see. So we've got X, Y, but these are going to be draw segments. So let's try triangles is grid data. What I should probably do is triangles left, down, up, and right. Maybe as an array. Or while I'm thinking about it, I might as well do it all longhand, then I can decide if I want to refactor it later. So I can have tries left. So that's going to be, oh, this is awkward. So I've got grid data. This is where my grid being a one-dimensional array gets very awkward to pull items in and out of it when I've got X and Y positions. I might be, I'll tell you what, it's probably going to be better to loop over X and Y, isn't it? Do that. That means I do have to remember how my tiles are stored. That's something I keep on having to think about, actually. Let's see. It's top left to bottom right, isn't it? I'm going to make a note of that while I'm here. So tile layout. When grid data defines the tile layout, it's indexed from top left to bottom right. Yeah. So the first example below, the tile looks, file and tile, the tile looks like so. And now if I pinch this, is that 431, is that the first one? Yes, it is. Do I have a block comment? Let's see, edit, other, thought, I select, no. I was just wondering if Slick Edit had a feature for commenting a selection. I thought it did. Maybe it doesn't. At least it's not a menu option. It might be. Oh, uncomment lines. There we go. Comment lines. Oh, we did. Excellent. Right. So that 4 is going to look like. I kind of want to copy that, don't I? And then I want a 3 and a 1. So I want that block. Okay, this is, it's not terribly exciting doing this, but it is at least making my brain remember some of these things. I hope. So let's pop do that. Oh, that's not commented. Okay. Right, should look like that. But what we've got is, am I in overwrite? It's not often that you forget where the insert, there it is. It's something that I've used so little, insert overtype. Oh, it's still not changing it. That's unusual. Oh well. Have a little bit of ASCII art. Extra line there. But then we've got, let's just do, there. So let's just copy that. So the tile below looks like that. Oh, I missed my, well, I could still probably do one. I'll do. Messed it up completely. Yeah, shift left, right. All right. Okay, 431 looks like that. Okay, so that's 4, 4, 0, 31, 0. That's my tile definition. Okay, kind of need to remind myself of that while looking at this bit of code up here. So let's loop over the x and y. So we have m, grid size and grid size for x. Yes, I can use x equals 0, x is less than t grid size. Do I use m anywhere else? No. So index, let's see, so it's going to be equal to x, I say it's y times 2d.grid size plus x, indexing top left, bottom right, and we're x is, yeah, we're looping from the top left. Ooh, you put quite an effort on that comment section. Thanks very much for noticing. Yes, I had a former colleague many years ago who used to love putting ASCII art headers and things in his source files. He even wrote one of those. He even wrote something that took PNGs or bitmaps, monochrome bitmaps, and turned them into ASCII art. So you could draw some pixels and then turn it into dinosaurs and other fancy things. I didn't want to go quite that far. It probably smacks of or indicates that my data structures are a little too complex or too esoteric to understand easily. I should probably make something a bit simpler. I have to keep drawing all these diagrams to remind myself what it all means. But as long as I'm having fun doing it, I think I'll stick with it. So what am I doing? So that's my index. So that's the triangles at that point. And the triangles to the left, I know what I'm going to do. Let's have a little function, var function, tx, ty. And if, do we actually want, I don't know, if tx is less than 0 or tx is greater than t.grid size, I'm just doing a bit of bound checking on the parameters here. Return -1. Ty. Actually, that's going to be equals as well, isn't it? 10 -1. Otherwise, just return I. Right. So, for each grid segment, so we've got if tries, so for if it's 0, then if tries is equal to 0, then actually if it's not equal to 0, then I want to carry on and do something. If it's 0 in that cell, then obviously I don't need to do anything with outlines of triangles on that cell. Otherwise, what we want to do is, so if we have a right hand, so what I do, if, actually now we want var tries left is it going to be equal to index x -1, -1, y, right, it's going to be x +1. After I've written this, I'm sure I'll find an easier way of just sticking these in an array and making it work out with a little bit of maths, but I'll do that afterwards. Left, right, tries, I suppose I could call it above, or top, I'll do top. That's going to be y, that's going to be y -1, isn't it? And tries below to top and bottom is going to be y +1, because we're going y is down. So then I kind of want to do this for both triangles, or do I? We'll just do one at a time for the minute. Got that. So if T1 or T2 1,818 lines of code. If T1 equals, so if I might as well start with the left hand triangle, so T1 equals 1, or T1 equals 2. Probably it's going to warn me about triple equals. So if it's 1 or 2, that means there's a line on the left hand edge. Let's write this down. Solid vertical line on left edge. So what we want to check is if the triangles to the left do I do this? So what I want to check is 3 and 4, don't I? An easier way. I should have written some functions to combine these and then test whether or not one nibble or the other is a certain triangle type. I might think about that. Vertical line at left edge. If triangles to the left is equal to 3 or 4, This is the sort of naive way of doing it, but then actually let's do it the other way around. If it's two, if it's also one or two, then need a line at that point, because then we've got a 1 or 2, and there's a 1 or 2 next to it, which means that there is a gap there, or 0. Triangles left. So if tries left is -1, or it's 1 or 2, I guess it's going to be yeah, or tries left equals 1. Tries left shifted down by 4 bits. It's going to equal 1. Tries left equal 2. Or then we need a line. So what I'm going to do is basically in that XY position, I can work out dx and dy. Let's use those. So y is equal to, it's literally just going to be x. Right. The x position is going to be our actual x variable times block size. Is it 0 or 1? Yeah, this is the left-hand edge. And the y is going to be y times that. And then I'm going to draw a line to y plus 1. No, y minus 1 times that. I'll figure it out by trial and error. What I want to do is, don't do that, I want node. We have node, don't we? Yeah, so I want node dot draw. Finally, we're going to draw something, draw a segment. I've got to figure out what draw segment does. P1 and P2 and color. So cc.p dx dy, cc.p dx dy plus block size. I'm just going to guess that now. Because I only do this once a week or twice a week, I totally forget the coordinate orientation. I've just been using Blender, having a bit of fun. And it's the 3D, in a nice 3D tool where you've got a little representation of your axes in the corner, that you can remember whether or not y is positive and so on, up and down and what have you. It's nice and easy, whereas jumping back to a bit of code where I can't remember which is which. cc.color, let's do something white. Right. So that's not going to do much apart from draw a couple of vertical lines, I hope, in the right place. Hopefully it won't crash. Also, I've probably missed out a couple of and 0xf's in there somewhere as well. Do I want to do that? Shifting down by 4 should be alright, actually, but it's this bit. I'm going to do and 0xf there. And I also want to do it there, but after the shift it doesn't matter. That loses the flow 4 bits anyway. But tries 0xf0. I'm going to do that anyway, just for good measure. It's getting complicated now. let's just see what happens. I expect that a bunch of things. Oh yeah, missing semicolon. Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, double equals or triple equals. I guess I can put those in, can't I? Should know better. Bad line break before. Oh, right, is it? I missed a. We've got brackets matching. Okay, I'm looking at the blue matching brackets. Yeah, I think that's probably swinging. I defined but never used. Self is not defined. Oh, did I? Ah, I missed that out there. That was a good catch by JS Hint. Right, let's see what's going on here then. So I need the right sort of triangle. So this is. Let's see, do I ever even get into this point? Actually, this is the first block, and I'm expecting. What I want to do is if it's not 0, if it's 1 or 2. So if it's appropriate triangle, 1 or 2. So I actually want a particular sort of block type, don't I? It's not going to be that one. It's going to be the other one. It's going to be the blue one. So let's see if I can fake. Going to have to fake it in here. Okay, so my blue one. There we go. It's tile 5. No, it's not tile 5. Tile 6. There it is. So I was kind of expecting there to be a white outline around that left-hand edge, but what could be going on? Let's see if we can draw something. Is it? What I'll do is I'll check to see if it's going to hit in draw segment in the debugger. Sources, block. So it's definitely hitting somewhere. Let's continue. What I need is when it hits tile number, whatever I just added it, tile 7, wasn't it? I think, or was it 6? 6. So tile number 6. So it's this one. Yeah. So I tell you that. cc.color. So it's doing a draw segment. I guess I should look at where the actual x and y's are. 0, 0, and 0 dy plus block size. So it should be a little line there somewhere. Maybe it's too thin to see. Maybe it's not draw segment. If I draw a rectangle, let's try draw. Let's remind myself of the draw node method. Draw node. So we've got draw segment, which I think draws a line. Oh no, it's to from radius. Okay, so to from radius. If I jump in, let's debug draw. I want draw node. This is where I really should set up my development environment properly, such that I can actually look at the real. There we are. So I've used draw segment to draw the lines in the grid, and it needs a 1 after it. Or let's do something big. Sound like 6. Right. Oh, there's some lines. They're not going the right way, but there is a line there, and I bet it's meant to be the other way up. That should probably be... I was expecting it to appear at the normal rotation, actually, which should be that orientation. So that's definitely a triangle type of four. It's not 4. It's actually, let's do it as I'm expecting it. So let's do 1 or 2. Let's do a 1. That means more, means drawing more ASCII art. Let's just try thinking about it in my head. So 1 or 2 is going to be that point. That's definitely that top bit of the triangle, or top bit of the block. Then if triangles to the left of it is -1, which is what I'm expecting, because it's defined in the that'll be off of the grid. X less, it should be coming in at less than 0 at that point. Then we should just get the line. So what if I do? If I break point in there, let's just check that that's what's happening. Right, so we've got node of the side. That's not that one. It's the 6 I want. Node 6, rotation 1. I was expecting rotation 0. That's interesting. Why not rotation 0? Not much going on from the hat today. Let's have a quick hat rainbow. Is it still working? Yeah, it's still working. Good. Difficult to see the rainbow. It comes up white, appearing at my second monitor. Might tone the brightness down a little bit for that. Anyway, I was thinking about having the chat window when anybody typed anything in, make some little hat flashing, just to see, just to have it moving and doing something more than usual. Feel free to try the hat commands yourself. So, somebody joining. Sassam, good to see you. Hi. Oh, nice icon. Very, very smart. Right. Kind of getting along very slowly today. Let's see. Let's do a. Why is it not? What I'll do is if n equals 6, break here. Yay. CC.log, that work? There we are. Right, so now we're on tile type 6, rotation 0, I'm hoping? Yes, rotation 0. You can change the color as well if you type Cylon with a 0x and then an AR, no, just RGB, so 0x, RGB, and hex. You'll get a different color. Cylon 0x, let's do green, red, green, blue. Oh, it's not, it's blinking, exclamation mark, hat. Get the commands right. There we go. It is green, but it's difficult to say. Anyway, Right, so 0, 0. So here's the triangles of 1. So if tries not equal 0, yeah, coming in. Tries left. So they're all 0 or -1, which is great. T1 and T2, but if T1 is equal to 1, okay, so T1, right, my logic is way too complicated. T1 equals 1 or T1, T2 equals 1 or T2 equals no, T1 equals 2 and T2 equals, oh no, this is I've really got to seriously think about how my triangles are represented inside an array. Must be a better way of doing it. T1 equals 1 or T2 equals 1 for now. Is that going to work? It's not. Yeah, actually it will work for now. Just right. Okay, so we're coming in and we're getting the draw segment. Right. Right, well that kind of worked. I've actually got two lines, well I've got an outline down the left hand edge of my block, but I've also got one there that's wrong. Could be for any number of reasons. Is it something? Oh, hi Biaz, good to see you. Right. So let's not have 6, let's just have 2 for now. So that's something. Not sure why that was there. But so I've really got to think about how I can check for things. I probably want something like a left edge function or a right edge function or a number of utility functions which will allow me to quickly code these types of tests up without all of these multiple ors and ands and things like that, and shifts all within the same if statement. So I probably had something similar before. I seem to remember my naive collision testing functions did something similar early on. Possibly that was in grid. But then I got rid of that and started using the triangle collisions with a bit of maths. So, oh, there's one that says square. So that does a test, a different, interesting looking set of functions there. Yeah. Might borrow that. Look. So I'm kind of getting there. I've got the beginnings of a function, but I'm going to have to think a little bit about how I want to write it in a neat way. It's 8:54 now. I'm not going to spend longer than an hour today. I've done many streams recently that have been an hour and a half or more. Okay, oh, there's some subtle outlines occurring, some in the right places, some in the wrong places, but it's doing something. So that looks like it's the way to go for the outlining. Is definitely loop over the grid, work out if the blocks have an edge against a bit of free space. If they do, draw the line there. That'll end up drawing an outline. I could do a number of things actually. I could either just draw the segments as I go, or store those in an array of vertices and then draw it as a single draw polygon. That might be a good thing to do actually. I might think about that next time. Just storing all of the points as I go into an array, pushing them onto the array, and then doing a draw polygon in a single call. That's probably a better better way of going than lots of individual draw segment calls. So, well, it's a start. It's about an hour of code. Pretty rough looking code actually. I will check this into Perforce. I always say Perforce. I mean I will check this into GitHub. But I'll add a few comments to this first because it's not very nice. So do that. Oh, hi Kresk, good to see you. Lots of people with good icons today. I'd like to see that. Edges that align with empty space. They need an outline. There goes my phone. I'll leave that for a second. Unfortunately, it's my phone that I can't mute. It's my home phone. Just picking it up and saying I don't want to answer means it's just going to ring. The code below is a start for a single case of one triangle, and it kind of works. Let's also just put this back to 0. I wonder if that has any outlines that work at certain rotations. Yeah, so that rotation where the one triangle is there works, but the other ones don't. Anyway. Put a to-do in there. To-do, continue this. At least we drew some, or I drew some nice ASCII art. There they are. Lovely. With that. Block. Oh, actually, let's update my notes. 28th today, last day of February. Ongoing. Move onto stack clustering grouping. Implementing. Actually, stack clustering grouping. Right. What am I adding to? That was my change that so it doesn't draw any triangles anymore. Commit. Yeah. So change AQ.drawDrive so that the triangles for each block don't have outlines. What just occurred to me as well. Once I finish this function, if I'm drawing an outline around a block using draw segment, or if I use a draw polygon, I can draw that block in one go by drawing a filled polygon and then a non-filled polygon, rather than draw all these triangles. So actually, I could probably do away with this function entirely and just have it as create block node, which draws the blocks at the rotations and things. Anyway, that's something to think about in the future. No, I'm not going to do that now. I'll try and remember that If I don't, then it won't matter too much, I'm sure. So that go? That went, didn't it? Oh, not yet. No. Commit and push. That. Help us prioritize feature requests for SmartKit. Not now. Right, so that's a little bit of code. Thanks very much for watching. Much appreciated. Do follow me if you don't already on liveedu.tv. Get notified when I go streaming again. The next one will be Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. I hope. It's a possibility I might be busy, but I'll delete the entry from the schedule if I am. And let's just give the hat one more go. What can I do? A pulse. There we go. Now I have to remember the hat commands. It's hat pulse. There we go, hat pulse. Great. Thanks very much indeed for watching, and I will talk to you and see you again soon. Cheerio, everybody.